So wrong. You are what you are.
Everyone said this season was extremely woke, but that's based like that could be used as like, you know. Sorry, I'm taking pauses because I'm in public right now, and I don't want to seem like insane. But just, I heard it was woke and all that, but that he's correct when he says that. That actually seems like anti-trans because you're saying like if you feel like you're born in the wrong body, don't be feeling that way because you're not. So, Shitty Gatwa's Doctor Who is based for now. I was just planning on making a video calling the season based, but I might just do like a kind of like what I did with Black Mirror, where I sort of analysed as it went on. All this is really an analysis, just me giving my opinions. Got two things for this, so I'm just going to combine these into one video when I'm done with the season. Although, it might be a bit hard because I'm probably going to watch the last two episodes in cinema. Anyway. Before I made the first one, there was a bit where the Doctor explained that he, basically what he said was that he was adopted by the Time Lords, and the way it was worded made it sound like he isn't a Time Lord, when clearly he is. And I thought, right, maybe it's just they made a grammar mistake, or, Shitty just got his words a bit mixed up, and it's whatever. But no, he said it like 2 or 3 times now. And it's just like, basically, he says that his parents are dead and that the Time Lords adopted him. I don't mind him saying that his parents are dead, because there's nothing really in previous episodes that contradict that. But I don't get why he talks about the Time Lords as if they're a different species. I get maybe he's trying to, like, disassociate with them because the Time War and all that, but he's never done that before, and it's not really genuine, and the Doctor is a genuine person. Always speaks the truth. Another thing is that he doesn't really seem like himself, because he was like almost intentionally trying to make the babies cry in this episode, because Ruby mentions the thing downstairs that they call the bogeyman, and the Doctor intentionally mentions it like 2 or 3 times, which it makes him cry every time, so he knows what he's doing. Like, it wasn't a mistake, and he didn't apologise for it after. So I don't get it, because Russell T Davies is the best Doctor Who writer out there, but he's really fucking this up. Made a refugee comment like, no, there is not a single place in the entire universe where the government actually helps out refugees. Like, refugees need to come on boats and all that. This is the UK. This was filmed in 2022 or 2023. It aired in 2024. If you genuinely believe that the UK government in modern times does nothing to help out the government, you're deluded. Or not to help out the government, to help out refugees. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about, which means you shouldn't really be talking about it, or you are insane. So, Space Babies. Overall, decent episode, I would say. Just, there wasn't really anything political in it, other than that shit about migrants, so that was tolerable. And a couple things that weren't political, but it didn't make sense, considering the lore that they've established over 61 years. So, episode 2, The Devil's Cord. I already knew that they got a drag queen to play the villain in this. And very first scene, not even 2 minutes in, that character appears. Just for a bit of context, there's a teacher playing a piano, teaching some chords to this kid that you can see right now. And teaching him about the Devil's Chord, which the church used to ban the Devil's Chord because they thought if you played it, it would just, allow the devil to manifest. He plays it and he's like, yeah, there's no devil gonna come out. And then this character comes out. Russell, what are you trying to say? About drag queens, eh? Yeah, and then the teacher, like the villain sits where the teacher was sitting on like the piano stool, and the teacher's like, "Oh, child, get away from him." Them, what? I am them. You're who? Just it's like they're trying to do the fucking you and me bit from Rush Hour 3, but politically. Also, I don't give a fuck about your gender pronouns. Like, right, you're a villain and you're gonna do something bad. Let's just say kill people. Sorry, I was just moving a crumb from my iPad. If you're gonna kill people, I don't give a fuck about your gender pronouns. I'm not even, we're 2 minutes into it and I already have something else to say. So that child doesn't exist. It was just like a manifestation from this thing. Technically, that's not transphobic for me to say that because they could be an alien of some kind. But I'm just going to call it the thing. The thing is saying that, the teacher is the greatest musician who's ever lived, but they never got any sort of recognition. And I'm going to rewind. I want to get the words exactly right that they said. Nobody really understood me, and it just feels like they're trying to say that, oh, you must be trans then. This is a trans story. Same way that they'll say that, like, X-Men is a trans story because their outcasts are really just anything with outcasts is a trans story because they're outcasts, even though trans people aren't outcasted from society. If they're praised. In fact, it's Pride Month right now. We had Trans Day of Visibility less than 2 weeks before this episode aired. So, just stop making bullshit up. This entire fucking scene right here is just grooming. This is a very nice metaphor for trans people. If you've seen my Instagram reel where I go off against PETA, I think it's the second one I made where child is about to have lunch and the PETA guy's like, "Hey kid, I'm gonna tell you the truth about animals." It's exactly the same as this. There was a scene from Hollyoaks, I think it is, which is it's a soap opera in the UK. It's one of younger oriented ones. Where sorry, I'm just picking up my coat. I think there's a trans character or something in it, and one of the younger characters, I'm assuming that they're underage, was talking about how they feel like a boy. They're a biological girl, by the way, and that this trans character was saying, "Oh, it feels amazing to be who you truly are." And it's so... It wouldn't look out of place in something like Sound of Freedom, that scene. Like, you know what I mean? Nuclear with this. Also, I don't know what the fuck you look like, but you look like something that I want to make fun of you for. I don't actually know what it is. It could be like something from Shrek. Also, your acting sucks. I don't have anything else to say about this particular episode yet, but I did post, or I'm going to post on my Instagram, who the villain reminds me of. And I think their name actually is Maestro. I thought that just said that. It's like a... Just a line. I didn't know that actually meant that their name was Maestro. I was going to call them Maestro from now on. But they look like Jack Horner. Like, that's what it is. Anyway. So, nothing to say about this episode yet, other than that. But I do want to mention about space babies. There was quite a few times where the Doctor mentioned them as being babies, and he's like, "No, sorry, space babies," as if like he misgendered them or something. I don't get like what the point behind that. It's been... Sorry, someone honked their horn. I was like, what the fuck? The actors been doing shit like this, you know, looking over their shoulder, thinking that they're cool this entire episode, and they just seem to think that they're like the best actor in the world. You're not. You're absolute shit. Especially since you don't even know if you're a guy playing a guy playing a girl playing a guy, or a girl playing a girl. Considering you go from guy to girl, depending on your fucking tone. Like, you can't... Anytime you get angry, which you've been doing that quite a bit, you're kind of like a mix between Jared Leto's Joker and Eddie Redmayne's character in Jupiter Ascending, where you think that going between quiet and loud and shit like that makes you cool and mysterious and a completely unpredictable psychopath, when that's just not at all what you're doing. You probably have no prior acting experience, and you're only cast because Russell T Davies saw you on RuPaul's Drag Race. Back around 2021, 2022, I made a video talking about how close enough the show that J.G. Quintel made is sort of like what he wanted to do with regular show, but he couldn't because it was on a kids' network. And in an episode of that show, they mentioned Beyonce. In fact, I think in a couple episodes they mentioned Beyonce, even though the show started in like 2020. You know, long after her relevancy faded. And I get she's kind of back now. She has that Texas Hold'em song. But I'm just tired of people mentioning Beyonce all the fucking time in modern media as if she is still the mainstream icon, as if since then we haven't had people like Ariana Grande and Taylor Swift. And Ruby, like, 2 sentences. I was born in 2004. I had Beyonce. I was also born in 2004. You know, I'm 19 years old as of the recording of this video. I turned 20 in a couple of months. And, you know, I used to listen to the radio. And I didn't really have anyone I was a big fan of, but I would have fucking noticed if Beyonce was popular. You know? My time. You know. But let's say between 2011 and 2015. Which is when I mainly listened to the radio. Beyonce got very rarely played, if ever, because... Yeah, she was still making music, but her relevancy kind of faded in the mainstream. She still made music and all that, but it was just mostly people who were diehard fans who stuck with her instead of just listening to what was popular or what was on the radio. You know, take, let's say, the Chainsmokers as an example. They were really popular in 2015, and they probably still make music now. But people didn't stick with them. Some people stuck with them and still listen to their music. But most people haven't. And it's the same with Beyonce. So why are you mentioning her? Especially since, you know, Ruby is 19, 20 years old and wasn't really around at her popularity. She was most... Like, I guess she had Destiny's Child and all that, but I would say the peak of her popularity was around 2008. We would have been 4 years old at the time. We were listening to Baba Black Sheep, not fucking Formation. I guess that came out in 2016, but you get the point. Maestro explains that they have a lack of a dad, which explains everything. There's always a twist at the end thing is just a stupid joke. If there was a song from back then called "There's Always a Twist at the End" or something like that that they're doing a reference to, even if there is or if there's not, like, it doesn't matter. It's just shit. It was a terrible thing and it doesn't even make sense. There is very rarely a twist at the end. Doesn't matter if you're watching Classic Who or New Who or this, there is almost never a twist at the end. Also, just the fact they seem to be going for a consequences be damned approach now, where it doesn't matter what we change, whereas they used to care about that. I don't mind doing consequences be damned, but it doesn't make sense for them to just all of a sudden be doing that. If they did from the start, it would have been fine, but the fact that, it was, we need to make sure everything's the way it was for 60 years, and all of a sudden, who cares? That's dumb. Overall, sorry, someone just passed. Overall, it's an alright episode, but it's a 50-minute episode, but it feels very short. A lot of it's just blank. And it's the same with the Christmas special. It was an okay episode, but it's say 50 minutes long, and there's only maybe 20 minutes of stuff that's actually happening. But yet it still flies by. It's weird. But so that's a problem, and also just the fucking that drag queen. Both the acting and everything that has to say is just, get the fuck out. Episode 3, boom. I'm only 3 minutes into it, and I'm a bit confused. You have this blind man, and they're talking about how there might be an ambulance here, but they're saying it in a bad way. And mentions something about running out of money, and I just have a feeling that this is going to be like a "We Love the NHS" thing. So the blind man from the first clip, I know it's a bit hard to see, but I think it should be clear enough to see that there was a man with a blindfold on. He was called by the ambulance, and the ambulance is analysing him, and he's name, and then calendar age, and it's like, what the fuck? What do you mean by calendar age as opposed to what age identity? I don't know why I passed there, I'm just about to clean it, but Shitty Gatwa runs like an old man, even though he's only 32. So, Ruby asks the doctor why the landmine he is stood on has lights on. He replies, capitalism. And I'm like, fuck's sake. But then he explains that, modern warfare and all that, and that is true. Lockheed Martin, they make all these weapons of mass destruction for profit. And it is true that if you were under communism or some other system that hasn't been invented yet, that this wouldn't happen. But it doesn't mean that capitalism is inherently bad. I get that this does look beautiful. I don't know, it doesn't look the best on my phone, but that's because the camera quality on my phone is shit, and because I've paused it. When you're actually playing it looks quite good. But just when I heard that Disney would be producing the show, I never thought that, they would replace real locations with 99% green screen bullshit. I'm not anti-green screen, I'm not anti-CGI, but just, seasons 1 to 4, maybe the, Matt Smith's run, mostly Peter Capaldi's run, possibly Jodie Whittaker's run, but I'm not certain about that, probably not. They were produced by Disney, and most of that was real locations. And even though it was a sci-fi, it was very grounded, but it no longer is. Disney producing the show, they could have got big celebrities to star in it, and just get better equipment, modern equipment, HD cameras and shit like that. They didn't have to, like, try... I mean, it's just... It's too flashy under Disney. And it's not just this, it's also the TARDIS interior design, and also the title sequence. Also, this isn't... I wouldn't say this is because of the budget, but the sonic screwdriver isn't even a screwdriver, it's a fucking TV remote. I think the way that the Doctor is reciting poetry, or whatever it is that he's reciting, it feels right for him to do that. And I don't think he's done it before, at least not often, or not that I remember. I hate it when in media something really obvious is going on, but a character is so stupid that they don't even realise it. I can't think of another example, because I think I'm best off leading with an example of something else, then going into this, but I just... In fact, you know what? Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, when they time travel, and Harry's like, oh, where's your daytime all of a sudden? What's wrong? What's happening? Like, obviously you time traveled, considering you've seen everything happening in reverse. And in this case, if the camera could focus, there we go. Notice the blind man as a hologram, because what happens is that the ambulance catches you and it analyzes you, like, oh, you're injured, so we're just gonna, like, kill you. And then it turns you into this, like, cube thing it activates an AI hologram, and that's what you're looking at now. His daughter is there being held by Ruby, because the daughter's like, oh, Dad, how are you? Even though he's blue and you can see through him, like, obviously it's a hologram. And this, now maybe if this were taking place in the past, like, I don't know, the 50s, I would understand. But this takes place in the future on a different planet, where hologram technology has been around for a very, very long time. So you should easily recognize a hologram. But she doesn't. Now, she's just said the word hologram, so she knows it's a hologram. She knows what a hologram is. And maybe it's just in, like, hindsight. She's like, oh, it's a hologram. But I mean, you know, I forgot to mention, she is tech smart, because she was able to, like, follow or track his dad, or her dad, through, like, the phone call that they were having, which is how she got here. So, she knows technology, but she thought that she could hug a hologram, you know, like... So, just make it make sense. They've just said that, talking about how throughout history, most of it, the church were an army, which it's not exactly true, but just going to ignore that. But they said that, modern times, wherein the church isn't an army, it's just a blip, and that in the future, it becomes an army again. It wouldn't be a church. Christianity is on the decline, and they currently still are the dominant religion, but it is becoming very, very close to Islam taking over. Back in the places that they're talking about, Christianity was, let's say, maybe 90% of the population. Very few Jews, even less Muslims, even less of everything else. And now, let's say it's 4 billion Christians, 3 billion Muslims, and 1 billion everything else. And that number keeps on growing, because their birth rates in Muslim countries are higher than our birth rates, and there's a lot more Muslims coming into the country every single year. Like, the numbers keep on increasing. So, I'm not trying to say that they're taking over the world or anything like that, but they are taking over as when I say dominant, I don't mean superior or like, when I say dominant, I mean most. Eventually, there will be more Muslims than anything else, and all the other religions might die out, to be honest. Or just become so underground because there's so many Muslims compared to the amount of everything else. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, it's just, if the church, or, let's be honest, the mosque becomes an army, then it's not exactly the same because it's the Muslims doing it, not the Christians. Also, I don't like the Christians, but what's up with the Christian bashing? There just seem to be outright Christian bashing with this. A character was shooting at the doctor, using the excuse that she is Anglican. But just, there's not a lot of violence anymore for Christians. Like, if you look at any sort of mass casualty event that's happened in the past 10 years, the majority of it has been non-Christians. I'm not pushing blame towards any other group of people, but it's just, if a Christian has done something violent, it's most likely not because they're Christian. Like, there are Christian people who are psychopaths, and there are non-Christian people who are psychopaths. So, most of the time, it's not because they're Christian. Also, if people are saying that, they're not killing people anymore, but they hate the gays and the other religions and all that, but no. Like, if you look at stuff the Pope does, like, it's all... They keep on going further and further with acceptance of other people. Like, it used to be that outright do not like gay people. Then they didn't mind gay people. Now they outright support gay people. I bet you if you look at the Pope's Twitter, you will find Happy Pride Month. So, it's not only stupid, it's outright wrong. Still on the landmine. He says that, he's a lot more explosive than he looks, and he knows how he looks, and I think that's something to do with the fact that, he's black, but, I mean, the Doctor's a Time Lord. He's not human. He didn't have to, go through the struggle for civil rights or anything like that. And I think just what they're trying to say is that, blacks are oppressed. Even though this is 2024. But, I mean, ignoring that, it kind of sounds a bit like they're saying that black people are violent. This isn't just Christian bashing, this is outright religion bashing, because he says that, the fact that they have faith is the problem. I don't have faith necessarily, but I do have hope, which is kind of similar. So, go fuck yourself.